you doing?
Getting oil everywhere. Making a mess. We're stripping down the gearbox and making a mess everywhere. So this is an open diff inside there, which is great, but not for what we want it for. We need both wheels to be turning together so you actually get somewhere, because otherwise we'll just end up with a one tyre fire everywhere, and that won't be any fun. So we're taking it to pieces so that we can weld up the diff and then put it back together again and then put it back on the lawnmower. Ping! I think it's still going, isn't it? Which hand?
Your turn. I'm gonna go cry in a corner now.
Swept car, swept car.
There's no label.
The label fell off. That's how good the oil is. The label fell off the outside of the can.
Yeah, because look how far that's butted up against.
Yeah.
So what do you think's happened?
The shafts that we've put on are now stopping it from coming apart, because instead of separating inside, you have to pull the shafts out with it, which is somewhat annoying. Yeah, we might get to that, but it's not. There's no circlip or anything, so that's fine. It can come out. Yeah, go on. There we go. Ta-da! There we go. So we've got it to pieces eventually after a bit of fighting. Just finding all the bits that we lost. So the shafts that we've welded on have to pass through the casing to allow it to come to pieces, but they're the exact diameter of the hole, which means they didn't want to come through very easily. We've messed around, got it as far apart as possible, and then undone the diff bolts and separated the diff. So half of the diff is in there with a shaft and half of the diff is in there with a shaft as well. Now we need to weld up the diff. So you've got a sun gear here, which is the big one, and then the planetary gears, which are the small ones. And then the same again in the other side. Sun gear, planet gears. Essentially we could just weld up all of those together and they'd move all together and not rotate as they should and create a differential. But I think, I'm gonna have a look. I think if we take all this out and then just weld the sun gear to this casing, then that'll do the same thing. And I think if we knock this pin out, this roll pin, then it means that the shaft will come out of the diff like a conventional one would. On a normal live axle car or solid axle car, you strip down the hub and everything and then you pull the shaft out of the diff. And I'm thinking if we do it like that, we can do that exact same thing, and it means that we can get it to pieces a lot easier in the future.
What will stop the shaft just coming out?
The same as on a normal axle, so the hub end is what retains the shaft and then it just sort of floats in the diff and is supported in the diff, so all the stuff, the hub and the hub nut and the wheel bearing and everything will keep it from moving around. Or you do have half shafts that actually float. They're only retained because they've got a circlip or something on them and they actually float up and down. I'm thinking we can do that. The best bit is this gearbox is in awesome condition. Other than some horrific oil and a little bit of swarf from where we've drilled the case in, it's actually in really good condition. Right, now do it. Pinchy! That hurt, Harry?
Yeah.
Cool little big gearbox, to be fair. We've taken the rear gearbox off and stripped it down to clean it out. We wanted to clean it out where we've drilled, obviously swarf will have gone inside, so we've done that, stripped it apart, cleaned it out, and then at the same time we've welded the diff up, because it's an open diff. If we left it that way, especially off-road, it would just spin one wheel a lot of the time. With the power this will have, it'd just spin one wheel and we'd go nowhere, and it'd be useless to us and not as much fun either. So we've welded the diff up, which was lots of fun and gave me a sore throat because I inhaled a lot of fumes, and then cleaned it all down, put it all back together again, and now reassembling it back on the lawnmower. We need to fill it up with some Swepco, and then that'll be good to go. Then that will give us the drive that we need. I've dug out a bit of scrap pipe that we'd got in the shelf there. It's already got a couple of bends, because I think it'll work nicely for a bit of exhaust, just to get it away from your leg. So I'm just going to chop this up, put it in, see if it looks all right and misses your leg enough, and then weld it up. Just want to get a bit of space there, because obviously if we did it straight, it'd be really close to your leg and get really hot. And with that kink, it just moves it away a bit, cut it off there. Then all the fire can go that way and not on your leg. Something like that, I think. So if it comes out there, that'll be all right there, wouldn't it? I think so. Choppy choppy. With that top one done the same again down low, because we had a similar piece of tube with the same sort of bend in it, and this one works quite nice because at full lock it swoops the same as the top one, but then it comes around the wheel really nice, which is cool, and away from your foot. It's not just spitting straight into the tyre, and it's not all the way around and then spitting into your foot. So I quite like that one, and then that one sort of mimics the same sort of thing, so I think that'll do. .3D printed that bush up now, and which just goes on the column here and just carries the top part of the column, and then sits in this bit here. I've just got to get the tape out of the way now. We've wedged a load of tape in there and I can't get the bush in. But basically that'll drop in there and then down into this panel here, and then that'll carry that nicely so it doesn't wobble around, and that's just 3D printed. Oh, like a glove look.
What are these for?
Just a few more washers for tidying up the brake cables, so I can cable tie everything up. Ow. Thought that was leaking oil then. Gearbox is going back on now. Harry's just trying to find the hole. And then we can bolt the axle casings back on, shafts in, hubs and everything back on, wheels back on, and then drop it down, and that's all done then. And we've been through a stack of other bits and bobs, so we're just chipping off little things now. A few things that we've sort of just smashed through really quickly to get done. Big one is the throttle cable. So we've got the brakes and everything sorted out some time ago. Now it's to this side to get the throttle pedal done. I've used the existing throttle pedal, fabbed up this sort of bracket down here to carry a cable that runs up to the carbs up here, which is the stock setup for the carbs. So now we can run a throttle pedal that'll operate that. So that's a big one. And that's just using the standard sort of cable, like a brake cable for a bike. Obviously exhausts we've spoken about, so they're big ones. So another really big one for us was, on the bike it has a huge airbox that carries an air filter, which obviously we don't want to run on this. So what we've done is I've 3D scanned the top of the airbox And then we 3D printed these sort of, I don't know what you'd call them, just ports or flanges that bolt to the existing carbs and then allow you to put on a standard cone filter. So we got these cone filters from a friend of ours, Jason Zembrowski, sorted us out with those 2 cone filters, and they fit really nice. And then when the bonnet's down, they sort of just stick out the top, which is pretty cool. Super neat, super compact, but still looks really cool and goes with the rest of the sort of aesthetics or whatever of this project. So that's another big one that we've done. So a couple of other big bits, obviously Harry's finished off these sort of, I don't know what you call them, guardrails, feet rails, leg saverers, and they look really cool. Love the mesh and everything. And then we've done chain guards, because this is literally in between your legs. You've got a chain on this side and then the bigger chain on the other side. We've used some 6mm 50 by 50 angle to just knock up like really heavy duty monstrous chain guards with inspection plates so that you can get the pulley off and everything, and then the same again the other side, so if a chain does let go it's going to be reasonably safe, it's not going to hurt anybody, which is quite important. Quite like my legs. Cheeky little other bit that we've done is we've bolted on some quality eBay special headlights, yellow ones. They'll house the little googly eyes. Bolted them on. Harry has wired them, but then I pulled all the wiring off so I could weld other stuff. One thing I want to tell you about that I can't really show you fully because we've got ahead of ourselves. We got the chain finished on this side, which was really easy to do, and then I bought an off-the-shelf tensioner, which is this thing here. It's like a little nylon wheel on 2 bearings, and then there's a pivot point about here behind this plate that's then sprung, and that's what keeps the tension on the chain. So that was another cheeky little thing that we've done. We've employed the camera lady because she's got tiny little hands, and there's 2 really small bolts in there. Now look, you can see that one there. Your hands weren't small enough. Your little monkey hands weren't small enough. Now I've got to get my stupid shovel fingers in there. Sweet, yeah, tight.
And the bottom ones are as well.
I haven't done the bottom ones. Hello. With the fact that we opened the gearbox up and then welded the diff up, we realised that we could make a bit of a modification to the way we've got things. So at the minute, we've got these shafts that we've made up. That half is original Wheelhorse that was in there, and it was retained with a roll pin that goes through that hole, which meant it couldn't come out. And when we welded up the diff, we knocked that roll pin out and then realised that this now could be removed and it wouldn't be any detrimental to its function. The only problem we've got is if it was not retained and it was floating, it would literally just fall out the axle. We basically need to put something on here. There'll be a backstop that stops it coming through the bearing. So if the nut fell off, for example, it wouldn't go anywhere, it'd still always be there and it can't physically come out, which is essentially how it is on the Can-Ams, because obviously this end's Can-Am. The CV is big at this end, and then you tighten the nut up and it squeezes down on the bearing and keeps it there. So we've got it all apart, but once we've welded something on there, we'll have shafts that we can just pull straight out, which means that when they get broken, which they will, we can fix them a little bit quicker, and it just makes it a bit of a nicer process.
Because Harry's top's wet and it looks like
I'm covered in it. We had an incident. Yeah, that's enough.
That's all I've got, mate. She's empty.
You have, that's all the air out, so let me put that.
I feel like it's doing stuff.
Not really. Yes, that's going to come flying out of there.
Off. It might be that you can't just do it by hand because we're still trying to turn over a gearbox. Go all the way to 6th.
Hang on.
That's it. So you're in 6th now. Clutch.
Yeah.
There's brake fluid everywhere. And I really, really like brake fluid. It's my favourite thing in the world. We've just fitted the clutch lever, which is the clutch reservoir and everything. And then that's the slave right there, which has a push rod that goes through to the clutch, which is on the opposite side of the engine. We've got resistance there, so we're going to fire it up now and just see if it actually disengages the clutch or not. The only other thing that we've not shown you then, which we won't show you too closely because it's hideous, is we've fitted a little Chinese electric fan. It might not be Chinese, I think it's Chinese. It possibly is Chinese, I don't know. And I've just discovered a coolant leak. So we fitted that fan, which comes on to cool the engine, obviously, because this is a water-cooled engine, and on the bike it had 2 rads that probably equated to bigger than that with fans, so we've stuck that on. It's not going to be under massive load or anything like that, but that should just give us a bit of cooling. Which is cool. Like that.
Fuel pump. Yeah. Now start.
Nope. That light's bright, isn't it?
Yeah. Too early. Not warming up. Hey, not warming up.
Not doing anything.
You're not putting the choke in.
No.
Check how much fuel it's got in it, to be fair. It might not have any fuel.
We might have run out of fuel.
Was it? Yeah, I think we have. That would be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can fix that. Can you guide me in?
Yeah,
Nothing quite like sitting on a fuel tank you made yourself.
Do you want me to put the seat on?
No.
It's literally like
that.
you got a little bit of idle, haven't you, before the spring kicks in, which is good because it means you can sort of
Rest your foot on it and stuff. Yeah. Okie dokie. Ready? Nah, you didn't hear it.
no.
No fuel pump.
Everything's happened?
We broke it.
Harry's dodgy wiring.
It's on again. I don't think that fuel pump's on properly.
There we go. Now it's pumping. Let it pump a minute, Harry.
Yeah, so look at the amount of...
Yeah.
Oh, pop a here with now.
Yeah. Go and stand at the back.
Yeah, I think we need a new silencer.